on today, and we're yet talking about our own words podcast. So once again, just want to thank God for the ones that have joined in, and thank God for the ones that will be joining in later, watching this. So we just wanted to continue moving forward uh, while we deal with grief, and while others deal with grief. Also, grief is it is a essential part of our life because everyone is going to go through death and go through crisis, and so with that also grief comes uh, also comes too. I'm sorry, forgive me. So okay, but on today we have some numbers, some telephone numbers, and she's getting ready to pull them up. But just basically saying when should you call the hotline if if you or a loved one is in a mental health crisis. We can provide solutions for depression or anxiety, changes in mood, appetite or sleep, difficulty concentrating, misuse of alcohol or drugs, and ability to function and losing touch with reality. And I believe that one of the things that a person might deal with is the misuse of alcohol or drugs. And because it's so common, it's so accessible.
That's it.
These days, you can go to Family Dollar, you can go to Dollar General store.
Oh yeah.
So you know that alcohol is just more accessible, to use dealing with grief. And, and I don't recommend the alcohol because it can yet turn into a addiction.
That's right.
Yeah, so you go from grief to addiction. So you're dealing with two different things.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything to say on that line right there?
Yeah, I was going to say basically it's so easy that it's the go-to.
Yeah.
Especially if we're feeling down or out or feel like there's nobody listening. A lot of times what we do sometimes is go to something that's going to ease us. And sometimes it is alcohol or the drug of your choice or anything and all that or whatever. So, but we recommend you not to do that.
Right.
At all. That's why we have these important phone numbers that you can call or whatever where there is help.
Yeah, because there's a national hotline that's abbreviated, I guess SAMHSA, National Hotline, National Helpline is what it is. It's free. It's confidential. It's a 24/7, 365 day a year treatment referral and information service, and it comes in English and Spanish also. But I believe a lot of times, we're looking for confidentiality, right?
That's right.
Because we're concerned about someone finding out our business or so on. So, but this right here is free, confidential. You can call it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days around the year. And it's for individuals and families facing mental and or substance use disorder. But a person might say, well, I don't have a mental disorder, or maybe a substance a disorder, but I believe that this is an avenue to get you there, because it's not too many places out there where you can call. Uh, you can go through your insurance company often. If you go to the next slide, also, please. But these here are just some numbers, some information, some websites that you can yet go to. There's when you deal with depression or anxiety. Uh, so the next question is: do I need health insurance to receive this service? The referral service is free of charge. That if you have no insurance or under insured, we will refer you to your state office, which is responsible for state-funded treatment programs. In addition, we can often refer you to the facilities that charge on a sliding fee scale or accept Medicare or Medicaid. And if you have it, health insurance, and you are encouraged to contact your insured for a list of participating healthcare providers and facilities. So really, we don't have a reason not to call because the help is out there,
That's right.
and oftentimes we fail to get help. And I believe that we try to self-diagnose ourselves or try to self-care.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know, and then your self-care can fall into drug abuse or alcohol, something just to make you feel good during that time. You know, to take you up high, but the lows is coming back down.
That's right.
So it's very important to be aware of the consequences before you even go into the drug use, the alcohol use, or whatever it is. You know, and grief can be heavy, it can be overbearing, but just please know that you are not alone. That there are resources available to help you through the grieving process, such as the 988 number. Also, uh, you have the 988 number, and you have the 288 number also. So you know, if you ever feel suicidal, also be because oftentimes these things come. You know, thoughts of suicide. You know, let me just go on and end my life. Let me go on and just you know just close the chapter on
That's
it.
right.
But if I look at it like this, when you do that, you know, you not only hurt yourself, but you're yet hurting those that are surviving also.
That's right.
So would you like to talk on that suicide, you know, and leaving those behind, you know,
Right.
by committing suicide?
And I think the first thing, Pastor, I think the thing they're gonna have to want help. You're gonna have to want the help or whatever and all that. And then, you know, if we see people that are going through, especially outside family members, and we see them going through whatever, it is what we need to do as our part is to call them, let them ask them if they're okay, if they're fine, even if that feeling or that thought
Yeah,
that they need help. Don't dismiss it.
yeah,
You don't dismiss it. Call them, check on them all the time or whatever, because that feeling is going to come over where you want to end your life or what's the use
right.
and all or whatever. But you have to be able to. That's where we come in. That's where family and friends come in to help these, you know, help individuals that's going through those motions of suicide and all. And so, and there, like I said, we said there is help out there.
Yeah,
It's available.
you know, and oftentimes, you know, there are not signs of suicide.
Right.
But you know, sometimes you know people they just do it. You know,
That's
so it's
right.
not no warning sign or it's like, man, you know, he did this, he did that. You know, but oftentimes it's just a end result. You know, that happens quickly. So, but like brother Jerome was saying, you know, we have to check on that person.
That's right.
Oftentimes, you know, the funeral, you hear people say, "Well, call me if you need anything."
Yeah.
But to me, it's almost like a cop out.
Mhm.
Call me.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not gonna call you.
Right.
Yeah, you know, but please check on me. You know, I'm not gonna call you and say, "Hey, you know, I'm over here thinking about committing suicide. Come get me quick."
Right.
But no, you know, but check on these people.
That's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
it is so important to check on those because oftentimes, you know, once the funeral is over, you know, 30 days and pass, 40 days and pass, you know, but that person is still dealing with grief.
That's right.
So that's oftentimes we forget about them and we go on with our lives. But like I said, you know, but there is help out there through the 988 suicide and crisis helpline. It's a national network of local crisis centers, and they yet provide free and confidential emotional support 24/7, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can call 12 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, whenever
Yeah.
the thought comes over you, because oftentimes, you know, the thought of suicide, it
It
comes.
does. Yeah.
I mean, you know, but you know, as tr- uh, as a strong person, we're able to dismiss it quickly.
That's right.
But for the person that are just really drowning in grief, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard out there. So Can you go to the next slide, man? So resources, once again, there is resources out there. The Family Caregiver Alliance, the National Center on Caregiving, and the number is 415-434-3388. Or you can call the 1-800 number. That's 445-8106. I just go to the website, www.caregiver.org. But there is help out there. Yeah, so please do not dismiss this. Uh, Write them down, take a picture of it, but the website is www.caregiver.org. And there's people there to help you. All righty. Okay, so we're gonna go do a recap. Emotional impact. If you would like to read that there.
Yeah, emotional impact. You may find yourself questioning the fairness of life, struggling to understand why such a tragedy has occurred.
And oftentimes it doesn't seem fair. It really don't. I would just be honest with you. When my wife was taken, it seemed like it wasn't fair. It's like, Lord, we was doing the right thing. We had a plan in life. We had a career plan. We had a lifetime plan, to do all this, and it's like, it's not no fair. We was there. We were right there,
Yeah.
at the door, and you do struggle to understand why this happened. It's like, Lord, please reveal your will to you. And oftentimes, God, He doesn't reveal it that day, that month, that year.
That's right.
So we just have to be patient, and wait on God, but struggling to understand, why did this happen?
Yeah.
So I believe that we question ourselves over and over and again, so we can question God, but we can't question, I guess, why He did it.
Right.
Because His ways are His ways, and His thoughts are His thoughts also. So He needed that person worse than us.
And I think, Pastor, as humans, as flesh, we're going to question, especially when it's the closest people to our hearts.
Yeah,
it's the closest ones to our hearts. It's easy to say it's God's will when it happens to somebody else.
Yeah, it is.
It's easy to do that.
It is.
But when it comes to us, when it comes to mine, when it comes to mine, this right here, my household, then you tend to like, okay, God, and what you were saying, you're doing everything right. You're serving God. You're doing all that, and then all of a sudden this comes in, this comes in, and then that question is why?
Yeah.
So I think it's natural for us to do that.
And oftentimes people say, well, she's in a better place, or he's in a better place. So I mean, I really don't think it's fair to say, but I guess that's like the go-to phrase.
Of course.
Well, but she's in a better place. She's resting. You like, but hey, we had a plan. She's not here.
That's right.
Yeah, so yeah. So it is an emotional impact, especially, if you really love that person,
right.
Care for that person, nurture that person, protect that person, serve that person. So yeah, you do run into an emotional impact, because it's just like, boom, it impacts you.
Yeah.
Hard. All righty. All righty. But the emotional impact. All righty, you can read the next one.
Physically, the grief can be exhausting. It can disrupt your sleep, appetite, and overall health.
Okay, would you like to talk on that one?
Yeah.
So the grief can be exhausting.
Yeah, it's if you're constantly thinking, and I think kind of goes with the first slide or whatever. You're asking the question why. That can be exhausting.
Yeah,
because you're questioning all through the day.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think this time with other people, I think the word sensitivity comes to my mind. or whatever, because I think some people aren't very sensitive
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
words they pick and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
And some people just don't know.
They just don't know.
They just don't know.
Yeah,
So,
they just
so that, they say, like you said, the go-to words and everything and all that. In your mind, you're like, okay, but you know, but that's the thing. You have to, grief it can be challenging, and then with the disrupting your sleep and all. I mean, you waking up through the middle of the night and you're like, okay, because you miss that person, especially if you're been with that person for so many years, or you're used to hearing their voice. It disrupts. It disrupts. I think every being of your
Yeah.
life
It does.
and all. And I think that with the appetite thing, mine changed. I told you stopped and all that, but I gained. It's like one of those things where, listen, I'm aggrieved by food, by
Yeah.
buffet. you know, but I'm still in grief and all that or
Yeah.
whatever. But we all deal with grief differently.
Yeah.
We all deal with grief differently and everything. So then our health, that's much way important too, or
Yeah.
whatever. So and we have to, because in this, your blood pressure,
Yeah.
all types of things happens
Yeah.
or whatever when it comes to this and all that. So we have to really, really watch, what we do with ourselves
Right.
at all.
Right. And I was reading an article that said that the spouse passes away within 6 months of each other.
Yeah.
Like, Lord, no,
Don't let
Lord,
that-
not me, no, no, Lord, I want to live. I want to live, but I think if a person is just so overwhelmed with grief,
Yeah.
just daily, just drowning in it, uh, it affects your blood pressure, your heart rate,
That's right.
just different things physically, but yeah, I actually read that article a couple of days ago where the spouse passes away within 6 months.
Mhm.
That there's a potential.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Lord, no, I want to live, but yeah, it can be exhausting. So let me ask you this: what about the person who's watching the videos daily, like the videos of their loved ones, pictures, trinkets? So do you think uh, that's something that they can kind of cut back on, or I guess tailor it, a little
Yeah.
bit, because when you're just sitting there daily going over the pictures, daily, or hourly, videos and just trinkets and stuff, holding on to them.
I'm a firm believer we don't tell anybody how to grieve.
Right.
If they want to look at pictures and videos, that's them. I found myself doing that, but and then it's almost like you have to snap out of it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a zone that you like, okay, all right, I've been here for 2 hours looking at videos and pictures of this person,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to sometimes get a hold of yourself. And like, again, we're not telling anybody
Right. And we're not saying
how to
that.
grieve and everything.
No.
Everybody has a different way of
Yeah, they
grieving.
do.
So, you look at your pictures, look at your videos and everything, but there has to be a point in time where, okay, I have to, it's like, okay, I got to go on, not forget. And it's not about forgetting about the person, not at all. It's about yourself taking care of yourself and all that or whatever, because that can mess with, I believe you can be so much in tune in that, so much that it can take away, and then you notice 3 or 4 or 5 hours has passed, and then like, where did time go? So I think you have to be able to take care of your own self being. Definitely.
All righty. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. Spiritual impact. Okay. You can read that, please.
Yeah, spirituality, the loss can shake your beliefs and faith. You might find yourself questioning your spiritual or religious beliefs.
And I've heard people say that God hates me,
Hmm.
and because of the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
God, He hates me, and I believe that you can lose, that spirituality core, where you were so dependent upon your faith, and with me, I really did stand on my faith. We prayed, we recited scriptures,
Yeah.
prayed over her, but at the end of the day, God, He has a plan, a ultimate plan. I know oftentimes we don't want to hear that because we're so close to that person, and it's like, well, Lord, you said, by faith, it's according to our faith,
That's right.
but it is according to by faith also, but God still He has a perfect plan and a perfect will also. And oftentimes the loss can shake your beliefs because I found myself, uh, well, my wife and I would read healing scriptures daily. So I guess when she passed away, I stopped reading them because I felt like, well, just being transparent
Yeah.
with you,
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like, well, they really didn't help, so why should I keep reading them?
Yeah.
And so I found myself, kind of distancing from the scriptures also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the prayer because I prayed with her morning, nighttime. We prayed together uh, in the morning. We prayed together, at nighttime before we went to sleep. So when she passed away, that right there was kind of taken away from you.
Right.
Yeah, and then with my mom, because it was two people that I really prayed for, sincerely with uh, uh, others also.
That's right.
Yeah, but when those two main people gone, it's like it's a void inside the prayer.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to praying for those two.
Yeah.
For healing also.
That's right. And the thought is, what's the point? Yeah. You that comes into the mind. Like, I mean, this is what we did. We prayed and we asked, God and all that. And so what happens is the enemy will come into your mind or whatever, but it's a trick. That's all it is.
It's a trick.
It's a trick or whatever. And I always say rebuke quickly when that thought comes and all. And like I said, we're human. We're human people. And we're going to think those things and all that or whatever. But we have to be able to, have the strong foundation of our faith. I think that's a big factor right there. And a lot of people, we have to understand that a lot of people don't have strong foundations.
Right.
They just believe God.
Right.
But they don't believe, they, when you're trusting and believing in something so much, you have to be able to like, okay, God, this is what you said it's going to happen, and it doesn't happen. So a lot of times that's where people's faith kind of like, oh, what happened, God?
Yeah.
What happened? But we have to be able to still stand regardless of of whatever happens.
Yeah, because when we look around today, God is still healing.
That's right, He is.
But you often times still still hear testimonies of healing also.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't take anything away from God because He didn't heal that loved one.
That's right.
But it was their time to go.
That's right.
Alrighty, if you can move to the next one, please. Thank you. Okay, guilt and self-blame.
You may struggle with feelings of guilt and self-blame, questioning if you could have done something to prevent death.
And I kind of thought about that, I was like, okay, maybe she could have got a different treatment. Maybe we could have went to a different counselor, a center, maybe she could have went with a different drug. So you could go through your head, thinking, okay, maybe I should have did this, maybe I should have did that, So you do kind of use some guilt, and self-blame, blame it on you, well, with myself. So I guess at the beginning, I did struggle with that because I was thinking, okay, maybe, a different counselor center, maybe a different doctor,
Right.
Maybe a second opinion, maybe a third opinion. Yeah, so yeah, we do go through that with sickness, but that's on my part there, but for the person that might have suffered a tragedy, maybe a car accident, or something like that, you might feel blame. Why I didn't stop them? Why I didn't take the keys that day? Or why I didn't do this?
Always the what ifs.
Yeah, what else?
All the time, that, like I said, when it's somebody, when it's happening, when it's us, the coach thing, like, we could have done something to change this with what happened.
Yeah, but it's so different to be on this side here. Yeah, because oftentimes, I have prayed with people that I've loved loved ones, and try to encourage those, but when it's in your corner, when it hits your home, it's different.
Yeah, it is. That's
Yeah,
it.
and I never would fathom going through this here and going through it back to back.
Mhm.
Me maybe once, but back to back is just kind of different. And oftentimes people ask me, "Man, you doing real good, man. What are you doing?" It's not me. It's God. It's
That's
the
it.
faith. It's the family, the friends also. It's the support, But behind the smile, there's pain.
That's right.
There's hurt, and there's suffering. There's loneliness. There's grief also. So
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a sometimes I catch myself always, and I said this before, but it's sometimes an unbelief. Like sometimes you have an unbelief, like really, my dad is gone.
yeah.
Sometimes it don't, you be in a normal day and you're working or you're with your family, you're like, man, this person's really not
Yeah,
here
yeah.
no more.
Let me call them.
Yeah, calling and all that or whatever. It's funny. It's like prime example. I still have my father's phone in my trunk. It's
Okay.
that cell phone, and it's one of those things where I kind of want to plug it up and all, and because he had a habit of recording himself while he's trying to use the phone and all that, and he's cussing and all that stuff. What like I don't know how to use the phone and all that or whatever. And I want to watch those videos, but I don't know if what it'll do to me. It's one of those things where you kind of like you want to watch them, but then again, it's kind of like I don't want to feel sad. Especially you having a good day.
Yeah.
And all that, and it takes something very simple, even a thought, to make you feel a certain way.
Yeah. And just kind of piggybacking, what you said about the phone. I have my wife's phone. So I went to her phone. She got all these pictures. I mean,
Yeah.
but she took a picture of everything, food. Every moment. Videos, and so right now I'm in the process of putting a video together for our 36th wedding anniversary also. But yeah, you go back and start reflecting on those, then all these memories come up, and then it's like, oh Lord, here I go again.
Yeah, and I think fast. I think also you look at a video, you see that person full of life. It's like, man, that person is full of life.
Yeah.
Like, like how we are right now.
Yeah.
You see that person in a video happy and smiling and joyful and all, and you've been like, man, what happened?
Yeah.
We know what happened, but it's just like, how did this even become the reality?
Yeah.
That this person is not like how we see in this video right here.
I mean, but at the end of the day, the grief still comes back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
The videos, the pictures that you enjoy, and it's like it creeps back up again.
It does.
Out of nowhere, So it's like, Lord, I'm not trying to forget that person,
right?
But I'm not trying to continue.
That's right.
In grief also, the grief is a process, and oftentimes I found myself trying to push through it quickly, quickly, Lord, quickly. Yeah, but there's a process to grief, so we have to finish the course of grief.
That's right. We
just can't just bail out here, because eventually we're coming back to it.
That's right. That's right.
So we often heal through the grief. So we're yet moving forward, even if it's one step at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 second at a time. So it can be a very slow process, but we have to trust the process, trust God. The God is yet working behind the scenes also. So I think the biggest part that I deal with today, I'm just being transparent, because this is a platform, a podcast. Yeah, just being transparent. So I think one of the things I deal with, is the loneliness.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, because you're inside this house, they're spacious, and it's like okay, it's like all righty.
Oh yeah.
So I'm at the point now, I don't turn on the TV.
Right.
So I just bought 2 TVs, and then we got so the TVs it's off during the day. But it's like you're trying to find that common ground, to get past being lonely.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So you call different ones, they busy.
Mhm.
So you call some people, they don't answer. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, oh Lord, I'm kind of stuck today.
That's right.
Yeah, but even being inside a room full of people, there's still that loneliness.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so I don't know. So I guess it's from the loss of that person.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, because I did uh, everything with her.
That's right.
So is
Oh
that
yeah.
something you deal with? I can. Well,
It's a little different on
yeah,
my.
it's a little different
It's
with
a little
you.
different with on my end because, but I can say this: it opened my eyes when it comes to preparation.
Mhm.
It tells me now. Now it's like make sure you got your stuff in order.
Yeah, yeah,
It really do. I mean, it really opened my eyes up. Even with my, I have my mother, and even with my wife, and then our children. It kind of lets I'm a person that I don't like last minute stuff.
yeah,
I like things to make sure it's prepared and make sure it's ready. So this with my father, it helps me, realize that hey, time is precious.
it is. Oh my
Time is so
God.
precious,
Yeah,
and it doesn't pick an age.
it doesn't.
And so like you and I could be talking and things change
Yeah,
within a second.
yeah,
So it just makes me more prepared
yeah,
about making sure my stuff personally
yeah.
is in order.
You're right. You're right. And my wife, she did a good job of that. Everything was in order.
Yeah.
But on my part, if I would have left it for her, it would have been a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So God knows.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
just being honest with you, I wouldn't. I mean, on my part, no preparation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hers, she was more prepared. You have a question? Huh? You have a question? Alrighty.
Piggyback on what Oladipo said. Why do we go back to normal after the realization that life is so precious?
Okay, can you read that? Is it written down here?
It's kind of scribbled.
The kind of scribble says, okay, why do we go back to normal after the realization that life is precious? Someone told me that there's no normalcy. Maybe that's for that person, why do we go back to normal after the realization that life is precious? I mean, in my case, it won't ever be normal. It'll be normal to a certain extent, but it won't be the same normalcy because my loved one is gone. So for the person that maybe it was a cousin or a grandparent, someone that wasn't, it's just really close like that. I don't know. Would you like to answer that?
So why do we go back to normal after the realization that life is precious? I think it's a different kind of normal.
Yeah,
It's a different.
yeah,
I mean, it. And I don't mean to sound insensitive, but even when our loved ones are passed, the world still goes, still spins,
Mhm.
and life. And I don't want to. I don't want to say it like, but life goes on.
It
I know
does.
that
It does.
life goes on and all, or
It
whatever.
does, man.
And so, and it's like the Bible said, we're like a vapor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How things are so precious,
Yeah.
but so precious and all that. But I think when it comes to realize, we're realizing and all that life is so precious that we have to. I don't know. I don't know. We all might have a different way of normalcy.
Yeah.
Maybe we might have a definition of normalcy. My normal may be different from your normal.
Right.
You know
I
what I'm
see
saying?
that.
We all have a different way of
I can
normal.
see that.
And so from the outside looking in, people say, "Oh, they good, they fine,"
Yeah.
and they moving on. But in reality, you really don't know what
Right.
we're really going through.
Right. You don't.
Internally.
You don't.
We can easily put a smile on our face and
Yeah.
and all that or whatever, but we're dealing with this grief that's
Yeah.
going on and everything.
And it's kind of funny that you say that, because I was sitting inside the car the other day and I was at the stoplight and looking around. It was like, people were just doing normal things. I'm like, my wife passed on,
Yeah,
but people still driving cars. People still going on vacation.
that's right.
So the world still goes on.
It still goes
It's-
on.
it's still moving
Yeah.
around, you know, so I don't know if we want to pause, inside that moment, and just savor that moment or savor that time and just stop,
That's right.
but no, life goes on, and not trying to be insensitive, but life goes on. Uh, bills go on.
Oh
The
yeah.
job goes on. The job might give you some time off, but at the end
Yeah.
of the day, they calling you back and say,
Yeah. It's
"Hey,
time to come.
Brian, I need you back
That's
here. What's
right.
going
That's right.
on?"
That's
So,
right.
so it does go on, So there's a adjustment. So I think during their time, we get adjusting to getting back to that place. So let me ask you this: so would there be a guilt of going back to normal? Do you think? Me, do you, do you feel guilty?
Yeah, I believe that's a part of your new normal. But so why don't we prepare spiritually or financially after we
Mm.
realize that life is so precious? It made me think
Mhm.
like, oh, I should prepare because we don't know.
Yeah.
No, you don't know.
We don't know. So that's what I mean by the normal. You're going on about life like it's regular, but you didn't prepare spiritually, didn't prepare financially,
Yeah.
didn't prepare like your family, everybody, so y'all can
Because
go through this.
we put it off. That's what it is.
We procrastinate.
We procrastinate. That's
Yeah.
that's a thing that my wife and I we always discuss. We don't want to talk about it.
No, you don't want
You,
to talk
you,
about
you
it.
don't want to talk
No.
about it because it's a sensitive
It's
subject.
taboo.
Yeah, that's a
almost.
sensitive subject. But it is an important
it is.
subject to talk
It
about.
is.
The what ifs.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. So we put it off, and then that thing, the life is so precious, that or whatever. So we always kind of. I was like, we'll talk about it,
Yeah.
that or whatever. And then all of
We're
a
not
sudden,
ready for it
and then
now.
all of a sudden, that sickness
Yeah.
comes along and everything,
Yeah.
and then get you thinking, okay, are you prepared? Is this, So, and I think in our community, I think we put that off.
Yeah.
I mean, we put that off and all that because we don't want to face it
Yeah.
and everything, but it should be front line. I think that should be something that's important, front line.
I think oftentimes we think that if we prepare for it, that's going to happen quickly,
Right.
quicker.
Mhm.
Quicker. So it's like, nah, I'm gonna hold off till I'm about 70, or 80,
Yeah.
then boom, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, no preparation, uh, 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 no insurance,
That's,
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, and dealing with the funeral home, a person can come into a funeral home dealing with grief now.
That's right.
And oftentimes that funeral home can take the advantage of you during that moment.
Right.
Because you come in, they're gonna give you a list of the things here, So in your grief, you're like, yeah, And the next thing, you're at $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, $13,000 for a funeral, with a $20,000 policy,
Yeah.
or a $15,000 policy. So you putting 90% of their policy in the ground.
That's right.
So yeah, there's a point of researching, preparation, having the right things in order.
Yeah.
Because going into a cemetery, you're paying opening, closing of the grave.
That's right.
You're paying for the headstone. So if a person would do it now,
That's right.
but oftentimes it's like, no, I want to do it now because that's kind of taboo. I don't want this right here to happen quicker than what I want to.
It's so important to have those talks.
It really is.
With your parents, with your loved ones. It's so important. I learned, and I always said this, at the time it was my brother and I, and my dad. And I told my brother, I'm like, hey, I said, I want to make sure my dad is prepared. Our dad is taken care of and all, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And then all of a sudden my brother passed away.
Wow.
So it was just me. But I said, Lord, I thank you that he gave me the mind to prepare 7 years ago.
Wow.
That, and it's simple. It's not nothing, it's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice and all that, but it's a worth it sacrifice that your loved one is taken care of, and it doesn't have to come out of anybody else's pocket.
Yeah.
It-
No
you're-
GoFundMe.
You don't know. You don't have to have a GoFundMe
No, you
if
don't.
you're already prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's so important.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. And I believe, that right there, the lack of money adds to the grief also.
Yeah,
Because you got grief, and then you're wondering, okay, how do we put this person away?
yeah.
So so it's like a compounded. I'll write the next slide then. Okay.
Cognitive impairments, grief can affect cognitive functions, leading to difficulties with concentration, memory, and decision making.
And then going back to going to the funeral home.
Yeah,
Let's see, leading to difficulties with concentration, can affect your function, your thoughts,
That's right.
your planning and all that. Because you going in there, okay, just do it.
Yeah.
So he come back with the bill, like, yeah, I just did it. So yeah, so I guess during this time, don't make any major life decisions.
That's right.
Yeah. Transfer, firm money, spending money, because oftentimes, we can go into a spending
Oh,
craze, trying to deal with grief. So it's spending a bunch of money, giving away money and all that,
Yeah.
So it can lead to your decision making also.
This grief fog can make it hard to perform everyday tasks.
All righty. Okay.
Emotional numbness. You may experience emotional numbness or detachment to cope with the intense pain. This can make it difficult to connect with others or feel any emotions at all.
Yeah, because I think the first 24 hours, let's say the first week, I didn't want to talk to nobody.
Yeah.
So I didn't want no calls, because I already knew the same calls would be kind of redundant.
That's
I'm
right.
praying for you, sorry for your loss and all that. So I stayed away from the phone, stayed away from texting and all that, because you just want to kind of be left alone during that time.
Right.
So yeah, you do feel a emotional numbness. Like, man, it is like a numbness for real.
That's it.
Yeah, you just feel numb all over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alrighty. So if you experience a loss of a loved one and would like to share your story, please contact myself at 405-243-6212. You can text or call me. You can email me at brianpollard10@yahoo.com. You can Facebook me at Brian A. Pollard also. But yeah, I know in these last couple of weeks, I started a journal.
Mhm.
So, doing a journal is very important also, because you can write down your thoughts. Write down how your day is going. And another thing I do also, I kind of take pictures on Sundays. Me and Ashley, I know Ashley getting tired of the pictures, but to me, it just kind of document your journey.
That's right.
Also, because I believe that our journey is leading us to a God revealing His plans.
That's right.
And through this, but
and I was gonna say, in the journey, it has to do with healing.
Yeah,
it's a healing thing. It's something to do in this season of healing
Yeah.
and all that or whatever. So that's how I see mine is it's like like a bruise on you, and then it's like a Band-Aid and all that or whatever. But you're healing, and you can't speed up the healing.
No, you can't.
You can't speed up the healing or whatever. But you're healing in more ways than one. But it takes time.
It does.
It takes time.
It does. And at the first year, I did a series on restoration.
Mhm.
But I didn't think that it was coming to my house really.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, but I believe that God is going to restore back your trust and your faith and your hope. All the things that you have felt like that I've been robbed of, because you do feel a sense of loss of hope. A loss of trust in God, but the Bible says to trust God Yeah, so we do have to trust God, even when we can't trace God, even when it seems like the God is not there, but God is there,
Yes.
and the Bible said that He would never leave us or forsake us, and that He would be with us even
That's
until
right.
the end of time. So we have to know that God is here for us. That uh, everything happens for a reason.
That's right. That's right.
But the Bible says that it was once appointed for man to die. So we all gonna go down that road.
That's right.
And growing up as a kid, I hated that. I was like, man, I don't want to die. Because life here, seems so pleasant, seems so good. Even though we go through the trials and the tribulations, the ups and downs, it's like this is home.
That's right.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is not our home. We're just passing through.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, just like the song said, that this is just a rehearsal. So, but just like Donnie McClurkin said, that after all we have done, we have to stand. We still got to stand.
Still got to stand.
So we still have to be positive. We still have to wake up in the morning and just declare the day, Lord, this is a good day, Lord. This is a positive day,
That's
Lord.
right. That's right.
This is the day that the Lord have made, that I will rejoice and be glad in it. Yeah, I know oftentimes, it could be sad.
Yeah.
Sad days. You have anything
I was gonna say. I just said that on my Facebook. I said I choose to be happy.
Yeah.
I choose to have.
It's a choice.
Yeah, I choose to have a good day. I can be angry and disappointed and mad at everybody.
Yeah.
But I choose to be happy today. And all that. And like I said, I can have a pity party.
Yeah.
and all that. But I don't want a pity party. I want to have a good day, and I want to encourage others to have a good day as well. So yeah, we choose.
Yeah, it is a choice. And what the Bible says that the joy of the Lord is our strength. So we do have to have that joy, because it gives us strength to move to the next level, to move to the next chapter, to close this chapter, to start another chapter, to choose a new beginning. Lord, I choose a new beginning.
That's right.
Because when life ends, there, we just can't just stay there.
That's right.
Because there's a new beginning.
That's right.
There's a new so what I'm doing now, I have to find Brian. I got to find Brian, because my life was catered around my wife 35 years. So oftentimes you did what she wanted to do.
Right.
So it's like, okay, what did Brian want to do?
There you go.
What did Brian like? So it's a new challenge to find out what Brian likes. But Brian might like I don't know, Rocky Road now, instead of chocolate all the time. But I think in marriage we adapt to that.
We do. That's right.
Person's likes.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm in the time now. Okay, Brian, what do you like doing? And it's still hard, because it's like, okay, because you like the things that she likes.
That's right. So
it was just a common bond, So, but God has blessed me to travel. I travel with my grandson. We did a couple road trips. Mm-hmm. So I'm beginning to find pleasure, in traveling. So what I'm saying is find that thing that you find pleasure in doing. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's watching football. Maybe it's volunteering somewhere where, but we have to get out. And do those things, So I think a lot of times we stay inside the house or stay inside our comfort zone.
That's right.
But just encourage you on the day to get out, and find that thing that that will help you move forward, in life, because we just can't stay here. So, if you have any closing?
I was going to say, and what we talked about earlier, look into policies for yourself and your loved ones, but especially for yourself, that it's a sacrifice. But think about that burger, that thing that you eat every month. And that's how I have to think. I'm being transparent. I had to think like that. Or whatever. This is what I'm eating, what I eat per month or whatever. This is what I can be putting into a policy and all that, so I can be taken care of for my family.
Right.
And that's how I encourage everyone out there to make sure to have those conversations with your loved ones,
Yeah.
please, even with your children and all of the what ifs and all. And is your things in order, basically,
Right.
and all or whatever. And then, and I know it's expensive during living in these days and times, expensive and all that, but it's a sacrifice, but it's a good sacrifice.
It really is.
So I encourage you to do that.
It really is. Even if you get a $10,000
That's
policy,
right. That's right.
or $15,000, but get something in place that's available there,
There you go.
because like I said, I think a lot of people is under pressure that the state will pay for now the state that doesn't pay
No,
for your
sir.
funeral, Social Security give you $255. That's all they
That's
give
it.
you.
That's it.
Yeah, so nothing else. So it's kind of left up to that person, to put things in order. Not only the insurance, but wills also.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
A will is very important because
Man.
oftentimes, you end up in a probate court also,
There you go.
trying to divide,
Waiting so long. Yeah.
a house, maybe an old car, but you go into the court system spending thousands of dollars when this right here, it could have been taken care of what the person was alive.
That's right. That's right. That's
you know.
right.
So, Ashley, you have anything in the closing? Any concerns? Alrighty. So I just want to thank God once again for this podcast. On next week, we have a gentleman, Brian Brown. He's coming in talking about his son, the loss of his son on next Tuesday, and then the Tuesday after that, I believe we have a person coming in who lost his wife, and he yet have two surviving children also that are young. So continue praying for this podcast, that God will continue to use us, and this will be a platform to help people heal, to encourage them to live. So at this time, we just want to thank you for tuning in, and thank God for the ones that will be watching this later. So God bless you and have a great day.
God bless.